Hi, this is Ashish from TechI, and I'm here to teach you about how to build Windows and Windows Phone apps using Visual Studio 2013. So I'll be using the Visual Studio Community Edition to build the first app, the HelloWorld app. So I hope you have downloaded some suitable version of the Visual Studio from visualstudio.com. So let's go to the file menu and select the new project option. So under new project, we'll be using the C# and XAML to build our first app. So there is a Visual C# option, store apps, and then a Windows Phone app. So you will see many templates there, like blank app template, hub app, or pivot app. I'll be using the blank app template because it won't be having any content preloaded. So let's go ahead and rename this to Hello World. Hello World. So you can see that Visual Studio has automatically created two files, like the main page.xaml file and the main page.xaml.cs. So you'll also see some other files. We'll check out that later. So let's first take a look at the main page.xaml file. So this is the main page.xaml file. You will see multiple windows here in the Visual Studio. So this is the Solution Explorer window, which will show all your files that are required for this project. This is the properties window, this one. So this will show you the properties of the selected content. So, and this window shows the piece of code that you write for your app for this page, the main page.xml page. So, and this one is the designer window. Let's set the zoom level to 50%. So that looks better. And yeah, we were talking about the designer window. So this one is the designer window. This displays all of your code that you write here, and displays how the code will look like when you will deploy it to a Windows Phone or an emulator. So this one is the toolbox window, which contains all of your controls that you will be using to build your Windows Phone app, like the button control or the text box control here. So let's start building our first app, the HelloWorld app. So we'll be having a button here. When you press that button, a message will be displayed like Hello World. So let's now write the code for a button. So you can write it manually here in the code window, XAML window, like this button, or just simply drag this button control from the toolbox window to the designer window like this. So you can see that you can move it all around this designer window. So let's fix it here. You can see that Visual Studio had automatically pasted the piece of code required for this button control. Let's rename this content property to click me. So now this is click me. So now we want a text block here which will display our message. So let's drag this text block control from here to the designer window. You will also see a text box control. So we will talk about that later, that what's the difference between a text box and a text block. Let's take a look at this text box control first. So as you can see, that text box is specifically used for taking entry from the user. So we will not be using this text box control this time. So let's delete it. Drag the text block control here. So you can see the font size is too small. So we will change that to something better. Let us first change the size of this text block. So you can see Visual Studio has already pasted the code for the text block. Now what we need to do is to change the font size. Okay, so let's change the font size to something say 25. So that's 25. Now you can see that the text still is aligned towards the left side of this text block. So let's change the text alignment property to center. So now it's centered. So now we have a button and a text block. So we don't want this text block thing here. So let's remove the text property. So it's gone. Now we have a button and an empty text block. So what we want to do, when I press this, go here and display hello world. So let us write the code for click property of this button. So you can write it manually here, like click equals some event handler, or just select this button in the designer window and go to the properties window and select the event handlers button. Under this you'll see a click option, so just double click here and Visual Studio will automatically build an event handler or a function that will be executed when you press this button. So when I press this, it'll go to this function and do whatever is inside this function. So we wanna change the text when this button is pressed. So let's first rename this text block. Sorry, let's first give it a name. I like something say my block. So when I press this, go here to the my block and change its text property to say hello world. So go to the text block and change its text property to hello world. So that's it, we're done with our first application. So we can make it even better, like when I press this, if this my block is empty, then write hello world here, or if it's already hello world here, then empty this text block. So we can do this by putting a if else statement here, like my block dot text. So if it's empty, then write hello world, else just empty that block. So my block dot text equals nothing. So now we're completely done with this app. So let's go ahead and run this. So you can run it by pressing this button. You'll see multiple options like device. You can use this option to um, run this in your Windows phone. I will be using the emulator option to test our app. So when you click this, the Visual Studio will start building, deploying this to the emulator. So first it will take some time to start the emulator. So let's wait. So now you can see deployed started here. So let's wait for the app to be deployed. So you can see deploy succeeded, and now the app will run as it should. So you'll see a similar click me button. So when I press it, you'll say hello world as expected. So again press it, it's gone. So now the text block is empty. So when I will press this button, it will go to the if statement, and I just change the text property of my block to hello world, so as this. And now since it's not empty, it will go to the else statement and just empty the text block like this. So this is your first app, the hello world app. So congrats, you now know how to build your first app. in Windows Phone. So stay tuned for our next videos in the series. So do watch the next videos to learn more about the Windows Phone apps and the controls you can use in the Windows Phone.